Hello and welcome. I am Coach Angela, and today we're going to be diving into a topic that I know everyone is super excited about: dieting. Yay! Actually, no, seriously, let's talk about dieting and how bad it actually is for you. And spoiler alert, it's not about counting calories. It's about healthy and happiness in your life. So we really need to change this paradigm and how we're viewing dieting and how we're thinking about the dieting. So let's first and foremost, what is dieting? Let's talk about this a little bit. And I want you to know that 95% of people that diet fail. 95% of dieters out there fail. And this study comes from the Journal of American Medical Association. And people gain it within the year, within a few years, like they gain it right away because diets just do not work. You know, most of the time, dieting is all about depriving yourself and restricting yourself, and you can no longer have any of your favorite foods. And this right there, that alone sets yourself up for failure. We don't want this. The other part of dieting is it actually slows down your metabolism. And I really want you to think about how bad this can be on your body mentally and physically, slowing down your metabolism, which is it's counterproductive of what it is that we want to do when you are eating healthy, is speeding up your metabolism. Because we all know the older we get and the less we move and the less sedentary we are in our lives, our metabolism does slow down. So we want to change that. And by dieting and reducing your calories drastically, you're going to lose water weight. You're going to lose muscle mass. It's going to cause this negative mental health, and that's something that we really don't talk about very often. But we will tap into this in a minute or so. However, but let's just think about this normally. If you're drastically reducing your calories from where you're currently today, you might be able to willpower your way through tomorrow and the next day, but willpower is just not enough. And life happens, things get in the way, and the roller coaster of wanting to eat again your yummy favorite foods starts. And let's call this normal eating. And when you go back to your normal eating, yay, food, it's back in our bodies, and your body will hold on to that and store that. And it's like a squirrel looking for its nuts to save it for winter. Your body is not meant to be starved. It is meant to be nourished mentally and physically. So let's talk about the emotional aspect of this and the emotional roller coaster that we all end up getting into down the road. And that's something I can speak from my heart on this, because it really has happened to me time and time again until I implemented some of the habits that we'll be sharing with you later today. But first, before we get into that, so let's talk about what happens to your body when you are dieting and the science behind it. So you do get rapid weight loss, great, but it comes from muscle mass. You lose water weight. And yes, we do want to lose the water weight, but there's lots of water that we need to keep in our muscles for health. We need muscle water in our brains. We need healthy fats in our bodies. We need all these things. When we restrict our diets, we're now also restricting nutritional food. We need these nutrients and the minerals and the vitamins that come from eating foods. We end up developing binge eating and restriction eating. We end up developing overeating and undereating. That comes into play. And along with the overeating and undereating, shame, guilt develop. And a negative relationship starts to happen with food. And I've been there, and we all struggle with this on a regular basis. And I really want us to change that. So first off, let's talk about, some of the misconceptions that people believe about nutrition and dieting. And I want you to listen to this, make some notes, because I really want to change this. People think eating fats are bad, But there's a difference between eating trans fats and eating healthy fats. When we're talking about healthy fats in a healthy, balanced nutrition program where you've got whole grains, you've got avocados and nuts and seeds, those are healthy fats. Your body needs that. Your brain needs that for heart health, so brain health and for heart health. We need healthy fats. So depriving your body of that is depriving your body of tons and tons of nutritional value that you need to stay healthy overall. And that's the other thing that I want to point out. Dieting can lead to living an unhealthy lifestyle. We want us to be happy and healthy. The other thing that tends to pop up, carbs are the enemy. And I understand this because you think if you're eating too many carbs, you can have, it goes through your liver and we get sugar hits and, you get bloated. There's so many things that can happen when you're having too many carbs, but it's the type of carbohydrates that we want. Carbohydrates are fuel. They are the energy for our bodies. They are not bad for us. We want to be able to eat more complex carbohydrates. What are those? Fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and remove the processed carbohydrates, which are those simple sugars, right? In our baked goods. We want to get rid of those baked goods because especially if it's in the store, you are buying something that has preservatives in it that will cause you problems down the road. And if it's staying on the shelf for a long period of time, that means you shouldn't be eating it. Another misconception is, eating late at night. Some people's body clocks work better. And this is something that you need to really understand and figure out for yourself. It's not necessarily about eating late at night. If you go to bed at midnight and you're eating at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, that is not eating late at night, but it is for me. I'm usually done and I'm in bed by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I am sleeping. But if your body needs that, and if you need those calories, it's about getting the food that you need throughout the whole day to maintain, sustain a healthy lifestyle. Does that make sense? I sure hope that makes sense. So eating late is not a bad thing, but eating pizza at 9 o'clock at night and going to bed at 10 o'clock, that is a bad thing. So we need to make sure we're utilizing the food that we're eating and the energy that we want. We want to be able to make sure we're burning calories while we're sleeping. And that is the most efficient part of eating healthier and eating more throughout the day. All right. So some of the things, number 4, we have, natural foods are healthy. All natural foods are healthy. And this is a big no. You really do need to take a look at the ingredients and to see what healthy foods truly are, because they may be putting things in there that are not good for you. So I would advise, take a look at the labels, see what the labels are saying to you, because just because it says it's natural doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't have high sugar and high salt and unhealthy fats in there. And number 5, what do we have here? So our supplements. Now, I do take supplements. I take my vitamins, I take my minerals, and I also supplement in protein powders and things like that. Some people will only, when they're trying to lose weight on the restriction, will only drink protein shakes and meal replacements and supplementation for their food. There is not a one way of doing it. A combination of the two is very successful. But if you're only supplementing your food, eventually you're going to end up failing because it's just that your body cannot maintain and sustain that. We need those whole grains in your system at all times. And it's more beneficial for you to get your essential nutrients from food. Gluten-free means healthier. Not necessarily. Again, please take a look at those labels. Take a look to see if it's high in sugar. Does it have healthy fats in it? Does it have unhealthy fats? What is in that container? Take a look and read those labels. I strongly suggest starting to learn and understanding reading labels is a huge part of understanding what's healthy and what's not healthy. Number 7, are all calories equal? Absolutely, they're not. All calories have energy, but not all of them are created equal. And this is something that is a challenge to kind of start to understand. Like, fruits and vegetables are not the same as candy, plain and simple. So if you think about it like that, an apple versus licorice, they are calories, but they're not equal. The body responds to it differently, and how we respond and how your body physically responds and how you physically feel after you eat that piece of fruit or eat the candy has a big impact. I want you to pay attention to that. I want you to start being a little bit more mindful of understanding the foods that you're eating. How do you feel after you're finished eating? Because your body is giving you signals. You may be ignoring it, but your body is telling you what it actually needs. Now, some people say, eating healthy is expensive, and it can be in certain areas, but I strongly suggest do your best, eat locally, make a smart meal plan, choose whole foods, do the best you can, farmers markets. In fact, you can't afford not to eat healthy, because if you're not eating healthy, you will become unhealthy later on down the road, and you're going to have to make the time for the medications and doctor's appointments and all of this. So really, eating healthy is worth it. Absolutely worth it. All right. So what can we do instead? Like, we know what's going on. We know the problems that we have with dieting. It's too restrictive. It causes, what can we do? What can you start today and start paying attention to? And this is, these are the lifestyle changes that we're talking about. These are the habits that we want you to pay attention to. If you're not paying attention, you don't know what's actually going on. So what can we change? Let's focus mostly on nourishing your mind, nourishing your body, rather than restricting. Instead of just taking things away, let's start adding things in. Let's start adding whole foods. Let's start adding unprocessed foods. Let's start adding colorful fruits and vegetables into your diet. Let's start changing the way we're looking at things, and think about the things that I'm deleting. Don't think about the things that you're deleting. Let's think about the foods that you want to add into your day-to-day life. And pay attention. Are you hungry? Eat. Are you thirsty? Drink. Are you full? Stop. It can be that simple. And I know it's hard, right? The other thing that I want you to also to think about is movement. We need to add some fitness in. We need to add some exercise in. It doesn't necessarily need to be going to the gym all the time, but you know what? Getting out, join a dance class, go to a yoga class, join a group for hiking. If you like playing hopscotch, go for hopscotch. If you like skipping, skip. Do something that's fun. Fitness doesn't have to be a chore. It can just be something that you really are truly enjoying. I do recommend making a note of what it is that you're eating throughout the day. Make a note a couple times a day. In fact, I'm a big believer of the apps and tracking your food and tracking what you're drinking and eating. Because if you're not tracking what you're actually consuming, you don't know what's going on and what's benefiting you. Our brains, I love to say our memories are great, but they truly are not. They are not a real representation of what's going on in our bodies. And when we think we're hitting plateaus, we're actually not hitting plateaus. The change is constantly happening. Change is constantly happening every single day. So start paying a little bit more attention and set yourself up for success. If you're working at home or you're working at the office, take yourself some healthy snacks. Start making small changes that you can implement and focus on doing it over and just over and over again. So here are a few things that we can start right away. Mindful eating. What is that? So mindful eating is, like I said, when you're eating something, pay attention if you're getting bloated. Pay attention if your digestion is not feeling quite right. Do you feel thirsty after you've had something? Do you feel satiated after you have something? Pay attention to that meal, because that meal can be unbalanced. And when we talk about balanced nutrition in our program, we really talk about making sure you have carbohydrates, healthy proteins, and healthy fats in every meal and snack, which will give you all the nutrients and the value that you need, so you're not looking for anything else. If you find yourself reaching for something else after you've had your meal, that means your meal was not balanced right, and that you need to add more food or protein or carbohydrates or fat to it. But if you don't know how much you've had, you don't know how much you can alter and change. And I'm not talking about scales and weighing everything, but we need to have a gauge and an understanding of a few things. We've talked about regular activity, and I'm a huge advocate. If you can just get out and start walking, that is fantastic. You need to move. It helps the body naturally detox. It helps the body regulate. You get the endorphin release and you start feeling much better. And also, as you start changing the foods in your diet and adding more nutritional based foods, the benefits of walking and eating right all work synergistically together. Now, setting yourself realistic goals. The goal of, I want to lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks is a big one. I get, I've got those 10 pounds that I want to lose. And there are times I have clients that I've been working with for years, over a year, and it's 100 pounds that we're trying to lose. your body will tell us what it can and cannot do. There is, depending where you are in your life, how many times have you been dieting? There is a relationship that we need to get your mind and body connection back on track. And I'm not a big fan about let's get ready for a wedding, let's get ready for this, let's get ready to have a goal setting, because then once you meet that expectation, you're either failed or past it, or you met the expectation and now you don't have to continue doing it afterwards. There's a lot of psychology behind all that. What I'd like you to start doing is implementing things that you can have in forever, right? Eating more fruits and vegetables is a big one. Going for daily walks is a big one. Drinking more water is a big one. Going to bed earlier, sleeping, it's a big one. These are realistic goals that you can adapt in your life that's going to make your life just better, right? Now, it sounds like a lot of information, and it can be overwhelming. And that's why I suggest seeking out support groups, finding like-minded people that you can contact. I'm going to be online, available to you to talk to me live. So just note that, pay attention, keep an eye on me on our channel here, and you will find out more information. But finding people around your community that can hold you accountable will also help you be more successful in life. Now, taking action is your responsibility. Now, I can provide you with all this knowledge and all this information, and you're taking it in, you're like, yeah, I've heard this before, or yeah, she said that again, and yes, I've understood this. But if you don't want to implement it, and if you don't want to make the changes, and if the reason why you are stuck is not a real reason, that is on you, right? You need to take accountability for who you are, where you are, and why you are where you are. There's enough information out here, and there's enough people out here. We can all support you, and I'd be happy to provide you some guidance along the way. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm Coach Angela Harris, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Take care.